In ancient Rome, there lived a wise and respected philosopher named Lucius. Known for his unshakable calm and deep wisdom, Lucius often helped the citizens of Rome navigate their tumultuous lives. One day, a young soldier named Marcus came to Lucius for advice. Marcus was consumed by anger and resentment towards another soldier who had betrayed him. He felt betrayed and sought revenge. Lucius welcomed Marcus and listened attentively to his story. After hearing him out, Lucius shared a story from his own life. "When I was young," he began, "I too felt anger towards someone who had deeply hurt me. I spent many sleepless nights plotting my revenge, convinced that only vengeance could bring me peace. But one day, I met a wise old man who taught me the true power of Stoicism." The old man took Lucius to a serene riverbank, where the water gently flowed over smooth stones. He handed Lucius a heavy stone and asked him to hold it tightly. As Lucius gripped the stone, the old man said, "This stone represents your anger and resentment. It weighs you down and disturbs your peace. Now throw it into the river." Reluctantly, Lucius threw the stone into the water and watched it sink. The old man continued, "Do you see how the water carries the stone away? Similarly, you can release your burdens. Holding on to anger only harms you. True strength lies in mastering your emotions and seeking inner peace." Lucius took this lesson to heart and began practicing Stoicism. He learned to see conflicts not as battles to be won, but as opportunities for growth and understanding. He discovered that by letting go of his anger and seeking common ground with those who had wronged him, he could transform his relationships and achieve true victory without raising his voice. Marcus listened to Lucius's story, feeling the weight of his own anger begin to lift. Inspired by the tale, he decided to adopt the teachings of Stoicism. He sought to understand the actions and motivations of his fellow soldier, eventually finding empathy and a path to reconciliation. In our hectic lives, where every disagreement can seem like a battle to be won, there is ancient wisdom that offers a different approach. Imagine managing conflicts with the calm of a Stoic philosopher, turning disputes into opportunities for peace and understanding. Today, we will explore 13 powerful Stoic strategies to overcome your adversaries without raising your voice. Drawing from the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, we will discover timeless techniques to master your emotions and achieve true victory. If you find value in what we share, please consider subscribing to our channel. Don't miss any part of this video, as this information can truly transform the way you face life's challenges, bringing you inner peace and stronger relationships. Stay tuned to learn how Stoicism can change your life. To truly manage conflicts like a Stoic, the first step is to understand your opponent. It's not about invading their private life, but rather grasping their motivations, fears, and perspectives. Marcus Aurelius advised looking beneath the surface, encouraging us to see beyond immediate anger and frustration. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a moment to consider what might be motivating the other person's actions. For example, during a heated debate, it's easy to focus on the words rather than the emotions behind them. By practicing Stoic empathy, you shift your attention from the external to the internal. Ask yourself why this person is so upset. What past experiences might be influencing their behavior? Epictetus reminds us that it is not the events themselves that trouble us, but our judgments about them. Applying this principle helps you see the situation from their perspective. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a raging river, with rapids swirling wildly. A Stoic would advise you to look beneath the surface to understand the currents below. Similarly, understanding your adversary means looking beyond their immediate actions to see the deeper issues at play. This may involve asking open-ended questions that invite them to share more about their feelings and experiences. Questions like, "What brought you to this point?" or "What are your underlying concerns?" can open a dialogue that goes beyond the superficial conflict. By investigating their motivations, you gain a better understanding of their perspective and create an opportunity for empathy. Seneca taught that empathy is not about agreeing with someone, but about understanding their point of view. This deeper understanding can lead to more thoughtful and effective responses, transforming potential battles into opportunities for connection and resolution. This practice of delving deep is not only beneficial for understanding others, but also for personal reflection. By exploring the underlying reasons for your own reactions, you can identify your triggers and work on managing them better. This dual approach of understanding both your opponent and yourself aligns with the Stoic goal of achieving inner peace and emotional resilience. Seneca emphasized that the greatest remedy for anger is delay. This simple yet powerful advice encourages us to pause before reacting, giving us the necessary space to assess the situation objectively. In the heat of the moment, it is easy to let emotions cloud our judgment, but by stepping back, we can determine if the conflict is truly worth our time and energy. This pause allows us to ask critical questions. Is this battle essential to my values and well-being? Will engaging in this conflict bring about a meaningful outcome? Imagine being faced with numerous potential battles, like a vast battlefield. Each conflict represents a potential drain on your emotional and mental resources. By choosing your battles wisely, you conserve your strength for the issues that truly matter. This approach aligns with Epictetus' teaching that we should focus on what is within our control and let go of what is not. Many conflicts are minor irritations that have no significant impact on our lives. By not engaging in these trivial disputes, we protect our peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius reminds us of the power of letting go. He teaches that often it is enough to hold your tongue and let things pass. This principle is particularly relevant in situations where the conflict is based on slight affronts or misunderstandings. By choosing not to react, we maintain our inner tranquility and avoid escalating the situation. It is a practice of personal discipline and humility, recognizing that not all perceived offenses deserve a response. Analyzing the potential outcomes of a conflict can help decide whether to engage. Every argument has its costs, whether emotional, relational, or even physical. Conducting a cost-benefit analysis can be incredibly enlightening. Ask yourself, what can I gain from this battle? Is the potential reward worth the emotional cost it will take? Often you will find that the price of engagement far outweighs the benefits, leading you to a more peaceful resolution simply by walking away. When emotions run high, it is easy to let our words become weapons, hurling accusations and insults that only escalate the conflict. But a true Stoic approach requires us to remain composed, choosing our words carefully to promote understanding and resolution rather than discord. It starts with practicing active listening. Instead of simply waiting for your turn to speak, focus intently on what the other person is saying. By listening without interruption, you show respect and a sincere desire to understand their perspective. This not only helps to diffuse tension, but also creates a space where meaningful dialogue can occur. Seneca emphasized the importance of clear and rational communication. When you speak, use I statements to express your feelings and needs without blaming. For example, saying, "I feel hurt when this happens," is much more constructive than "you always do this." This approach reduces your counterpart's defensiveness, allowing them to better hear and understand your perspective. It's a way to assert your needs without resorting to aggression. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the power of maintaining a composed demeanor. In his meditations, he reflected on the importance of staying calm in the face of adversity. By maintaining a confident and steady tone, you convey confidence and control, which can also help to calm the other party. This doesn't mean being passive or submissive, but rather standing firm in your principles with a gentle and composed behavior. Another key aspect of speaking with calm and clarity is the ability to stay focused on solutions rather than problems. Instead of fixating on what's wrong, steer the conversation towards finding mutually beneficial solutions. Ask questions like, "What can we do to solve this problem together?" This shifts the dynamic from adversarial to cooperative, aligning both parties towards a common goal. Epictetus taught that our reactions are within our control. By choosing to respond with calm and clarity, you take control of the narrative. When faced with hostility or criticism, take a moment to breathe and center yourself before responding. This pause allows you to gather your thoughts and respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Incorporating humor appropriately can also be a powerful tool to lighten the atmosphere and create a more relaxed discussion environment. However, It is crucial to ensure that the humor is inclusive and not at the expense of the other person. Light-hearted jokes or self-deprecating humor can demonstrate humility and a willingness to find common ground. The Stoics believe that beneath the surface of every disagreement, there are shared values and goals that can unite even the most opposing sides. By focusing on these commonalities, you can transform conflict into cooperation. Think of it like climbing a mountain. At first, it may seem like you and your adversary are on completely different paths, each aiming for separate peaks. However, as you ascend, you begin to notice that your paths converge towards a common summit. This metaphor perfectly encapsulates the Stoic approach to conflict resolution. Instead of focusing on differences, look for points where your paths align. Start by reframing the conflict from a me versus you scenario to a we scenario. This subtle shift in perspective can work wonders. It's about seeing the disagreement as a common problem to solve rather than a battle to win. Ask yourself and the other person, what are our common goals? What common outcomes do we both desire? By identifying these mutual goals, you set the stage for a more collaborative and less confrontational dialogue. Stoic wisdom teaches us to look beyond superficial problems. Often what seems like a conflict of interests is actually a clash of unmet needs. For example, a heated argument over professional responsibilities may stem from underlying needs for recognition and respect. By addressing these deeper needs, you can find solutions that satisfy both parties. This approach not only resolves the immediate conflict, but also strengthens the relationship by building empathy and understanding. In seeking the shared path, it is also essential to practice active listening. This means paying real attention to the words, tone, and body language of the other person without planning your response while they speak. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of understanding others and seeing the world through their eyes. By truly listening, you show respect and a willingness to understand their perspective, which can open the door to finding common ground. Once you have identified common goals and listened with empathy, work together to find solutions. Focus on seeking win-win outcomes where both parties feel their needs are met. This collaborative problem-solving not only resolves the current conflict, but also fosters a sense of teamwork and mutual respect. It is about moving from a place of opposition to a place of cooperation. Patience and perseverance are essential. Finding the shared path is not always easy and may require multiple attempts. Be ready to take small steps and celebrate minor agreements. These small victories create momentum and trust, making it easier to resolve larger issues later on. Seeking the shared path involves fostering a mindset of unity rather than division. By focusing on common goals and values, actively listening, and working collaboratively towards solutions, you embody the Stoic principles of wisdom, courage, and justice. This approach not only helps resolve conflicts, but also strengthens your relationships and brings you closer to inner peace. Think of it like trying to move a massive oak tree. You can't just push it. Instead, you need to work with the natural forces that influence it, like wind and water. Similarly, rather than directly confronting someone's position, you can influence them by aligning with their deeply held beliefs and values. Start by understanding the landscape of their values. This requires careful observation and listening. Pay attention to what they say and do, and note what they praise or criticize. These clues will help you map out their value system. For example, if they often talk about justice and fairness, these values are likely important to them. Once you have a good understanding of their values, identify where your goals and theirs intersect. Even if your positions seem opposed, there are generally underlying principles that both parties share. For example, you might both value honesty, integrity, or mutual respect. Highlight these shared values in your discussions. This creates a sense of common purpose and builds a bridge of understanding. When presenting your arguments, use language that resonates with their values. This is not about manipulation, but about authentic alignment. If you know they value loyalty, frame your points to show how your perspective supports and defends that value. This makes your arguments more convincing because they see that your solution aligns with their core beliefs. Marcus Aurelius taught that we should aim to live in harmony with nature, which includes human nature. By appealing to someone's inner values, you essentially harmonize with their nature. This approach reduces resistance and fosters a more collaborative atmosphere. It shows respect for their perspective and demonstrates that you are seeking a resolution that honors their principles. Another important aspect is to demonstrate through your actions how your proposed solution aligns with their values. Words are powerful, but actions are even more so. Show them through concrete examples and behaviors how your approach reflects the values they cherish. This builds trust and credibility, making it easier for them to accept your point of view. It is also vital to maintain a tone of respect and empathy throughout the process. Even when you disagree, acknowledging the other person's values and showing a willingness to understand their perspective can diffuse tensions and open the door to constructive dialogue. Stoicism teaches us that everyone has a unique perspective shaped by their experiences and values. By respecting this individuality, we can find common ground even in the most difficult conflicts. Imagine you are walking on a tightrope over a chasm of potential conflict. A well-placed joke can serve as a balancing pole, helping you navigate this precarious situation. However, this metaphorical tightrope requires a sure foot. Humor can easily tip the balance if not used appropriately. The key is to ensure that humor lightens the atmosphere without diminishing the other person or the gravity of the discussion. First, it is essential to know your audience. What one person finds funny, another may find offensive. This means being mindful of the style of humor and the personality of the other person before making a joke. Consider whether it will be received in the spirit in which it is intended. If you are unsure, it is better to err on the side of caution. Next, aim for humor that brings people together rather than divides them. Self-deprecating humor, where you gently make fun of yourself, can be particularly effective. This shows humility and a willingness to admit your own flaws, which can diffuse tension and make the other person more receptive. For example, if you have made a mistake, a light comment about your own blunder can lighten the atmosphere and signal that you do not take yourself too seriously. Timing is crucial in the use of humor. Introducing a joke at the wrong time can backfire, making you seem insensitive or disconnected from the gravity of the situation. Pay attention to the emotional intensity of the conversation. If emotions are still high, it might be wise to wait until things calm down a bit. A well-placed joke can act as a pressure valve, but only if the atmosphere is receptive. Another important aspect is to avoid humor that targets the other person or minimizes their feelings. Sarcasm in particular can be a dangerous ground. While it may seem witty, it often carries an undercurrent of hostility and can exacerbate the conflict. Instead, aim for inclusive and non-threatening humor, helping to build rapport rather than creating a divide between you. Remember the Stoic principle of control of your own actions and reactions. By choosing to use humor thoughtfully, you maintain control over the tone and direction of the conversation. This aligns with the Stoic goal of achieving peace and rationality in the face of adversity. Humor, when used wisely, can be a tool to maintain this control, guiding the conversation towards a more amicable resolution. Incorporating humor in conflict resolution also requires a certain degree of self-awareness and flexibility. Be ready to adjust your approach if your initial attempts at humor do not work as expected. The ability to pivot and try another tactic is part of the art of effective communication. When you are in the midst of a conflict, the first step to offering empathy is to change your focus. Additionally, offering empathy can be transformative for your own emotional state. It shifts the focus from self-centered reactions to a more compassionate and outward-looking perspective. This can reduce stress and foster a sense of connection and cooperation, even in difficult interactions. When we talk about compromise, we are not suggesting that you abandon your principles or give in to all demands. Rather, it is about finding solutions that respect both your needs and those of others. This approach is beautifully aligned with the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within our control and letting go of what is not. By identifying areas where you can be flexible, you pave the way for mutually beneficial outcomes. Start by reframing the conflict as a collaborative effort rather than a battle. This shift in perspective can help both parties move from an adversarial stance to a cooperative one. Think of it as working together to solve a problem rather than trying to defeat each other. This mindset is crucial for fostering an atmosphere of mutual respect and understanding. Identify common goals and shared values. Even in the most contentious disagreements, there are often underlying objectives that both parties can agree on. For example, both sides may value fairness, respect, or a harmonious work environment. Highlighting these shared values can create a foundation for compromise. By focusing on what you have in common, you can build a bridge over the divide. Next, prioritize your concerns. Not all aspects of a conflict are equally important. Determine which issues are non-negotiable for you and where you can afford to be more flexible. This prioritization allows you to focus on finding solutions for the most critical problems while being open to compromise on less significant points. It's a strategic way to conserve your energy for the battles that truly matter. Epictetus advised us to wish that things happen as they do, rather than as we would like them to. This Stoic wisdom reminds us to accept the reality of the situation and work within its constraints. Compromise often involves accepting that you won't get everything you want, but finding satisfaction in a solution that sufficiently meets your needs to be acceptable. Engage in open and honest communication. Clearly express your needs and listen to the needs of the other person. Use I statements to communicate your feelings and needs without assigning blame. For example, saying, "I need to feel respected in this situation," is more constructive than, "You are disrespecting me." This approach fosters a more productive dialogue and helps prevent the conversation from becoming accusatory. Be ready to explore creative solutions. Sometimes, the best compromises come from thinking outside the box and seeking alternatives that hadn't been considered before. This requires a willingness to brainstorm and collaborate to find new ways to meet both parties' needs. Patience is also essential in the art of compromise. Realize that reaching a compromise can take time and multiple discussions. Be prepared to face setbacks and remain committed to finding a resolution. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the importance of patience and perseverance in achieving his goals. By embodying these qualities, you can navigate the path to compromise more effectively. Imagine being entangled in a dense thicket with branches and thorns blocking your path. No matter how hard you try, progress seems impossible. In such situations, a Stoic would not hesitate to ask for help. Similarly, in conflicts where communication fails and resolution seems out of reach, turning to an impartial third party can be incredibly beneficial. This could be a mediator, a counselor, or a trusted friend who can offer a fresh perspective and facilitate constructive dialogue. One of the main advantages of seeking external help is the objectivity that an outsider can bring. When you are deeply involved in a conflict, emotions can cloud your judgment, making it difficult to see the situation clearly. An impartial mediator can help untangle these emotional knots, offering a clearer view of the issues at hand. They can guide the conversation, ensuring that both parties are heard and understood, which is essential for reaching a resolution. The Stoic approach to seeking help is based on the belief that we are not isolated individuals but part of a larger community. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the interconnectedness of all people, emphasizing that we should support each other. By seeking external help, you acknowledge this interconnectedness and demonstrate a commitment to finding a solution that benefits all involved. Another advantage of involving a third party is their expertise in conflict resolution. Many mediators and counselors are trained in techniques that facilitate effective communication and problem solving. They can provide tools and strategies you may not have considered, helping to bridge gaps and foster understanding. This expertise can be invaluable for navigating complex conflicts and finding creative solutions. Seeking help also shows a willingness to grow and learn. It takes humility to admit that you don't have all the answers and that someone else might be able to assist you. This humility is a fundamental Stoic virtue, reflecting a deep understanding of one's own limitations and the value of continuous self-improvement. By seeking external help, you are not only working to resolve the current conflict, but also developing skills and knowledge that will serve you in future challenges. It is important to note that seeking external help is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom and strength. It takes courage to reach out and ask for help, especially in a society that often values autonomy and individualism. The Stoics teach us that true strength lies in recognizing our interconnectedness and utilizing the support of others. To achieve our goals, it is essential to discuss the concept of forgiveness within a Stoic framework. Forgiveness, in this context, is not about excusing harmful behavior or forgetting past wrongs. Instead, it is about choosing to release the emotional burden that these events impose on us. Imagine being chained to a heavy rock, its weight dragging you down and causing pain. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks these chains, allowing you to move forward unencumbered. Start by recognizing the impact that holding on to anger has on your well-being. Anger and resentment consume mental and emotional energy, often leading to stress, anxiety, and a lack of inner peace. Recognize that forgiving is a way to reclaim that energy and redirect it towards positive and productive activities. It is an act of self-care that prioritizes your health and happiness over past grievances. Next, practice empathy and perspective-taking. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the importance of understanding others' actions and the circumstances that motivate them. By putting yourself in the shoes of those who have wronged you, you can better understand their behavior and motivations. This does not excuse their actions, but it helps you see them as fallible humans rather than villains. This shift in perspective can lessen the intensity of your anger and make forgiveness more accessible. Forgiveness also involves letting go, but not forgetting. It is about releasing the emotional burden of past events while retaining the lessons learned. These experiences shape who you are and provide valuable insights into your values and boundaries. By holding on to the lessons rather than the pain, you can grow and become more resilient. The process of forgiveness can be active and ongoing. It is not a one-time event, but a continuous practice of releasing negative emotions whenever they arise. Techniques such as writing, mindfulness, and meditation can be useful tools in this process. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can bring clarity and a sense of release, while mindfulness practices help you stay present and grounded. Another crucial aspect is self-forgiveness. Often we are hardest on ourselves, holding on to guilt and regret for our past actions. The Stoics taught that everyone makes mistakes, and that compassion towards oneself is crucial for personal growth. Forgiving yourself means acknowledging your imperfections, learning from your mistakes, and moving forward with a commitment to do better. Remember that forgiveness is an act of strength, not weakness. It takes courage to let go of pain and anger and choose peace over conflict. By practicing forgiveness, you align yourself with the Stoic principles of wisdom, courage, and self-control. You demonstrate an understanding that true power lies in mastering your emotions and maintaining inner tranquility. Think of the mythical phoenix that rises from its own ashes, stronger and wiser than before. Similarly, the Stoics encourage us to rise from the ashes of our conflicts, using them as opportunities to become better versions of ourselves. The first step in this process is to adopt a learning mindset. Instead of viewing conflicts as purely negative experiences, reframe them as opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Ask yourself what lessons you can learn from the situation and how it can help you become more resilient and wise. Reflection is a key element of this growth process. Take the time to analyze the conflict and your role in it. What triggered the disagreement? How did you react, and what could you have done differently? This introspection aligns with the Stoic practice of self-examination, as Marcus Aurelius often wrote in his meditations. By understanding your actions and emotions, you can identify patterns and triggers that need attention, paving the way for personal improvement. It is also important to practice self-compassion during this reflection process. Recognize that everyone makes mistakes, and that conflicts are a natural part of human interactions. Epictetus taught that we should focus on what is within our control and accept what is not. You cannot control others' behavior, but you can control your reactions and learn from your experiences. By being kind to yourself and acknowledging your efforts to grow, you create a positive environment for continuous improvement. Once you have reflected on the conflict, set specific and achievable goals for your personal growth. This may involve improving your communication skills, developing greater emotional intelligence, or learning to better manage your stress. The Stoics believed in the importance of practical wisdom, or phronesis, which involves applying philosophical ideas to daily life. By setting and working towards these goals, you transform abstract reflections into concrete actions that foster growth. Engaging with others and seeking feedback is another valuable aspect of growth from conflicts. Discuss your reflections and goals with trusted friends, mentors, or colleagues who can provide insights and support. Their perspectives can offer new angles on the conflict and help you see aspects you might have missed. This collaborative approach not only enhances your personal growth, but also strengthens your relationships as it demonstrates a commitment to improving and learning from your interactions. Patience and perseverance are essential in this journey of growth. Personal development is a gradual process that requires time and effort. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to be patient and perseverant, understanding that true change does not happen overnight. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and stay committed to your path of personal improvement. To begin, it is important to understand your inner values and needs. Reflect on what matters most to you and the behaviors you find unacceptable. This self-awareness is the foundation for setting effective boundaries. For example, if you value honesty and find deceit intolerable, make it known in your relationships that honesty is non-negotiable. This clarity helps you communicate your boundaries assertively and confidently. Communicating your boundaries requires clarity and respect. Use I statements to express your needs without blaming or criticizing others. For example, instead of saying, "You are always disrespectful," you could say, "I feel disrespected when my opinions are dismissed." This approach focuses on your feelings and needs, making it easier for others to understand and respect your boundaries. Consistency is essential when it comes to enforcing boundaries. Once you have set a boundary, it is important to stick to it, even if it is difficult. This consistency not only reinforces the boundary, but also shows others that you take your needs seriously. If someone crosses your boundary, address it immediately and calmly, reminding them of your previously stated limits. This reinforces the boundary and helps prevent future violations. Setting boundaries also involves anticipating resistance. Not everyone will be happy with your boundaries, and some may resist. Be prepared to assert your boundaries firmly but respectfully. Stoicism teaches us to remain calm and composed in the face of adversity. By standing firm in your boundaries, you demonstrate self-respect and integrity, qualities highly valued by Stoics. It is important to remember that boundaries are not walls. They are guidelines that help maintain healthy interactions, not barriers that isolate you from others. Boundaries can evolve and adapt as relationships grow and change. Being open to renegotiating boundaries when necessary can strengthen relationships and foster mutual respect. This flexibility, however, should not come at the expense of your core values and needs. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of boundaries for self-care. Protecting your time, energy, and emotional health is crucial for living a balanced and fulfilling life. By setting boundaries, you ensure that you have the space and resources necessary to take care of yourself, which then allows you to engage more meaningfully with others. This practice aligns with the Stoic principle of maintaining harmony within oneself and in interactions with others. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love. It involves recognizing your worth and ensuring that your needs are met. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-respect and living in accordance with one's values. By establishing and maintaining boundaries, you honor yourself and create a life that reflects your principles and aspirations. In life, we often encounter situations beyond our control, the actions of others, unexpected challenges, and random events. While we cannot control these external factors, we can control how we respond to them. Consider this. You are caught in a sudden storm with wind and rain hitting you from all sides. While you cannot stop the storm, you can decide how to face it. Similarly, in moments of conflict or stress, our power lies in choosing our reactions. This shift in perspective is liberating because it emphasizes what we can manage, our own mindset and actions, rather than the unpredictable external world. To start controlling your reactions, the first step is awareness. Notice when you begin to feel a surge of emotion, whether it's anger, frustration, or anxiety. This is a signal to pause and take a deep breath. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to create a space between stimulus and response. This pause allows you to assess the situation calmly and choose a thoughtful reaction rather than an impulsive one. Changing perspective is another powerful tool. Epictetus taught that it is not the events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of those events. By reevaluating your initial judgment, you can often find a more balanced and less emotionally charged perspective. Ask yourself questions like, is it really as bad as it seems? Or, what can I learn from this situation? This practice helps to reduce emotional intensity and brings clarity. Deliberately choosing your reaction is the next step. Once you have created space and changed perspective, decide how you want to respond. Do you want to react with anger, or would calm and assurance serve you better? Would a measured and thoughtful response be more effective than a hasty and emotional reaction? Remember, reacting with calm and clarity often leads to better outcomes and preserves your inner peace. Practicing this approach consistently strengthens emotional resilience. Over time, you will find that you react more calmly and effectively to stress and conflicts. This does not mean suppressing your emotions, but managing them in a way that aligns with your values and long-term goals. Stoics believe that true strength comes from within, and by mastering your reactions, you embody this inner strength. Engaging in regular personal reflection can improve your ability to control your reactions. Take time each day to reflect on your responses to various situations. Were there moments when you reacted impulsively? What could you have done differently? This continuous self-evaluation helps you learn and grow, making you better equipped to handle future challenges. Additionally, controlling your reactions fosters better relationships. When you respond with calm and clarity, you create an environment of respect and understanding. Others are more likely to reciprocate this behavior, leading to more constructive and positive interactions. Remember, true strength does not lie in conquering others, but in mastering oneself. By adopting the wisdom of the Stoics, you transform conflicts into opportunities for growth and understanding. Thank you for being part of Simple Philosophy. Don't forget to watch one of the suggested videos on the screen to continue your journey towards inner peace and resilience. Your support and commitment on this path are truly appreciated.